Some of you may have family or friends who have battled and beaten cancer. The man you're about to see may be partly responsible for saving their lives. He pioneered the first oral chemotherapy, and later he discovered that cancer develops resistance to chemotherapy treatment, much like bacteria develops resistance to antibiotics. The scholar you're about to hear has more letters after his name than you're likely to find in a bowl of alphabet soup. Bachelor's and master's degrees in chemistry and math from UCLA, a Ph.D. in chemistry from Stanford University, a Doctor of Science for work in toxicology from the University of San Francisco. This gentleman has a name that is among the most widely known and respected in international scientific circles. He has served as a consultant to the World Health Organization, as well as many corporations and government agencies around the world. He is a diplomate of the Academy of Toxicological Sciences, a distinction held by fewer than 100 scientists. He has authored over 250 publications and received the prestigious Alumni Award for Excellence in Professional Achievement from UCLA. In favor of this scientist, even Nobel laureates were passed over for this honor. Golden NEOLIFE Diamite has been very fortunate indeed to have the benefit of his intellect, his insight, and his unyielding dedication to scientific and nutritional excellence since 1978. This man may be best defined as a gentleman and a scholar. The senior member of the Golden NEOLIFE Diamite Scientific Advisory Board, Dr. Arthur Furst.
As you know, I represent the Scientific Advisory Board. We call the SAB, and although I like to take the credit for everything that's been done, obviously the Scientific Advisory Board, as John points out, is an unusual group of people. And what of course amazes me, and I'm sure you're aware, that no other company has a Scientific Advisory Board equal to ours, and I should point out, practically no company has a Scientific Advisory Board at all. Everything we do is based upon science, good, hard science, and not on hype. And speaking of products, I hope all of you are taking our products, because when you do, you become a role model for those who are your customers. If you know how good they are and they work so well, then you can really expound this to the other groups. Every product we make has a scientific backup in the correct, honest medical literature. We just don't go to newspapers and get our information there. We have to go back to the biomedical literature, and everything we do must have a scientific basis. And therefore, again, we can say we avoid all this hype, we avoid all sorts of pitfalls, because every statement we make, and hopefully every statement you make, is backed up by what we say in the terms of the scientific background of biomedical literature, which is all over the world. We check the computers constantly. We have ability to look at all the computer medical writing in the whole world. And we do this almost on a weekly basis to keep up with the science. Speaking about science, if you have a product, you can say anything you want about it, but you should have a backup of research that goes behind it. Let me give you some illustration on this, which I find very interesting. Time and time again, I've had people tell me that our carotenoids made a major difference to men who had prostate trouble. I could not talk about this to an audience because we had no scientific backup, but we listened. About 2 weeks ago, Harvard University came out with a study on carotenoids and the prostate problems. And they said beta-carotene had no effect. Others had no effect. But the family of lycopenes had a major effect on alleviating some of the prostate trouble. Our carotenoids contain lycopene. And those people who talk about, beta-carotene as being the end of everything had no effect at all. It was our carotenoid product with the lycopene that now explains why these people came back to me and said it helps their prostate. And so, again, we have this science behind us. Whether we do it or somebody else does it, it is very, very important. And then speaking about science, John mentioned something I'd like to elaborate. Are you aware of the fact that the United States government is using our products for testing? The same group that says you do not need supplements. The same group also says, please, GNLD, may we use your products? May we use your product for our studies? You don't need supplements, but we're going to use them anyway. They put a group of healthy volunteers. Remember, we work with humans. We do no animal experiments at all. We work with cells and with humans, and healthy humans at that. They took a group of humans and they said, now here is the immune level, which is normal for you. And they gave them a low carotenoid diet, and the immune level went down, 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 down. At this point, they said, we have to do something. So they gave some of these people beta-carotene. No question. The immune system came up, but not to normal. Then they took another group of this study, and they gave them the NEOLIFE, Golden NEOLIFE diamide product, beta-carotene, carotenoid, and the immune system came up. And much to everybody's surprise, it reached normal. Much to everybody's surprise, it went above normal. And only 3 capsules, according to what the bottle said. No mega doses, no tremendous amounts, just exactly as we recommended. It turned out the immune system went up and above normal. And that was a government study, not ours. So if anybody else says something about their product, ask them what research has been done on their product. How can they prove what they say? It's easy to say. It's more difficult to prove. And as John mentioned, I'd like to mention again that the British government gave us a patent on this carotenoid product and gave us a protection. The U.S. patent is still pending, and there's now efforts to get the European patent on this. No other product near it has any patent protection. And this, again, if somebody says I have a better product, you say, well, what's your protection? What patents did you get on this product? And this, again, you shows the difference between GNLD products and somebody who just talks. We keep informed. We keep up with the literature. We go to scientific meetings. And again, as I say, no one's ever said, hey, you can't go, that's a little expensive. Not at all. I say this in public, and I have to admit I'm amazed. When we go to a scientific meeting, which has happened a few times, one of the big scientific meetings was dedicated to one of our scientific advisory board members, Lester Packard. The whole scientific meeting was dedicated to Lester Packard. We went to a National Academy of Science meeting. We went to a New York Academy of Science meeting. We went to international meetings, and Golden NEOLIFE diamide was represented. No other company sent a scientist to any of these meetings. Couldn't they afford the $100 entrance fee? So when others say, well, we have a better product, say, who's your scientist behind it? What are your literature research statements behind it? What are your patents behind it? When we say we are number one, when we say we are the leaders, there's absolutely no question, because we don't copy. We innovate, as John said. We are the group who makes the product. We don't buy out of a barrel and repackage. We start from scratch. It takes years to get a product going. We read the literature, we do some of our own work, and then we decide this ought to be an important product to help the health of the world. And so I'd like to close by saying, truth is stranger than fiction. We don't have to use fiction to tell you about these products. We don't have to make exaggerated statements, as some companies do. We don't have to tell you something which is not true. We will never lie to you. If I ever lied to you, then Bob and Jerry should fire me right now, and they should, because we have the scientific backup to tell you what is real. And so I like to close by saying that every product you have is real, it's honest, it is workable, and the beauty of all this, I'm fully aware of the market plan and so on, from my point of view, as I mentioned some time back, I'd like to mention again, a healthy body leads to a healthy mind. And all of you are really contributing to what I consider the important thing in the world is world peace. Thank you very much.